My name is Sabrina. I'm a UX designer on maternity leave, and I used to believe I had a solid life. I was married to Luke, a man who, at the beginning, was the kind of guy you build a future with. Funny, charming, supportive. We met at a mountain retreat. He made everyone laugh, but made me feel like I was the only person in the room. After a year, he proposed on a coastal picnic. I said yes without hesitation. Our families merged seamlessly. Vivian called me her second daughter. Evan brought wine and jokes. They helped us buy our starter home. I had hit the jackpot. Then I got pregnant. The shift was subtle at first. Luke was thrilled, promising to be the best dad ever. He started working late nights at his IT job, banking overtime. But as my belly grew, he shrank away. I rationalized it. He's stressed. This is how he shows he cares. But caring doesn't look like forgetting to ask how your wife is feeling after she spent the day vomiting. It doesn't look like turning every shared responsibility into a solo performance for me. By 6 months, I was on leave. Grateful but isolated, sick, and struggling to keep the house spotless. Luke saw it as a vacation. One evening he came home early. I was drained, lying on the couch, dinner not started. He frowned. "You're just lying there? I've been nauseous all afternoon. I just needed a minute." He stared at the empty kitchen. "You've been home all day, Sabrina. I work 10 hours and come home to this." "I'm growing a human being, Luke. I'm doing my best." "Oh, here we go," he muttered, grabbing a beer. "You always play the I'm pregnant card when you don't want to do anything." The blow landed square in my chest. "Are you kidding me?" "No, you've checked out. You don't work. You barely do anything around here anymore." I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just stood up. "I'm going to stay with my parents. I need space. I need peace." His response was a shrug. "Fine. Do whatever you want." So I did. For 3 weeks, I lived in the quiet sanctuary of my parents' home. I sent Luke one pregnancy update. Radio silence. Then, Evan and Vivian appeared at the door, their faces drawn with worry. "We're so sorry," Vivian blurted out. "We had no idea. Luke never told us you left." They'd pressed him until he confessed. They thought everything was fine. They stayed for an hour, offering apologies and bad dad jokes. I was torn. Luke was cruel, but his parents were a lifeline. A few days later, Luke showed up on the porch, unannounced. "I'm sorry," he said, looking exhausted. "I didn't mean to make you feel alone." "You didn't make me feel alone, Luke. You left me alone." He looked down. "I know, I was overwhelmed. I want to fix this." I wanted to believe him. I agreed to come back, but only after the baby was born. I needed a stress-free 3rd trimester. He agreed. Our daughter, Lily, was born on a rainy October morning after 14 hours of labor. My mother held my hand. Luke arrived just in time to hear her first cry. The look on his face was raw, shaken, teary. For a moment, I let myself hope. But within 2 weeks, reality hit. Lily had colic. She screamed for hours. I was bleeding, leaking, sweating, surviving on less than 2 hours of sleep. I was drowning. Luke stepped over burp cloths, kissed Lily on the head, and said, "You've got this, babe," as he left for work. I did not have this. He started coming home past 9 p.m., expecting dinner. One night, after a brutal day, I managed to reheat soup. He raised an eyebrow. "Soup again? It's the best I could do." She hasn't stopped crying since noon. "You know my parents are coming Saturday, right? Plan something decent." Vivian texted me not to stress. He snorted. "That's her being polite. I don't want them thinking you can't manage a simple lunch." The week was chaos. The morning of the visit, I was shaking from exhaustion. Luke left early with a final warning. "No store-bought junk. I want them to think we've got it together." Desperate, I called a gourmet deli and ordered an artisan spread. I was arranging it when the doorbell rang. Vivian and Evan stood there beaming. "Surprise," Vivian said, holding wine. Evan raised a bag. "We figured you could use reinforcements." They'd brought store-bought appetizers from the same deli. I almost cried with relief. Vivian took Lily, Evan opened the wine, and they sent me to lie down. I drifted off to the sound of my daughter gurgling happily. I woke to Luke's voice, sharp and disgusted. "Sabrina, are you seriously sleeping? What are these?" He was holding the deli platter. You bought appetizers? I asked you to cook. My chest tightened. Luke, your dad brought those. He turned, eyes narrowing. You're lying. A voice cut through the room like a blade. She's not lying. Evan stood in the doorway, glass of wine in hand. Vivian was behind him, holding Lily, her face colder than I'd ever seen it. You bought those? Luke asked, thrown. Yes, Vivian said. I paid. We wanted to help. Luke tried to laugh it off. I just thought. You just assumed, Evan snapped, and insulted your wife in your own home. I'm sorry, I didn't know. You didn't ask, Vivian said. You just yelled. A silence fell, broken by the buzz of Luke's phone on the table. Vivian, closest to it, glanced at the screen. Her face hardened. She picked it up. Who's Julia? Luke's eyes widened. Mom, it's not. She held up the phone, her hand steady, her voice quivering with controlled rage. She read aloud. You left your sweatshirt and lighter here. Can't wait for next time. My heart plummeted. What is that? Luke stood stiff. A man caught in an avalanche. It's not what you think. It's someone from work. It's not serious. Evan stepped forward, his voice low and dangerous. Luke, are you having an affair? The silence that followed was its own answer. How long? I asked, my voice eerily steady. He swallowed. Since you went to your parents. We were fighting. I was lonely. She was pregnant with your daughter, Evan said, the disgust palpable. What kind of man does that? You were gone, Luke snapped, turning to me. I left to survive, I said, stepping forward. You made this house unbearable. You made me a burden for carrying your child. Vivian stared at him like she didn't recognize him. We trusted you. We defended you. Evan turned to me. Do you want him out? Yes, I said without hesitation. Tonight. You're kicking me out of my own house? You forfeited your place here. Evan nodded, walked down the hall, and returned with a duffel bag, setting it at Luke's feet. You'll stay with us until this is resolved. Mom, Luke pleaded. Vivian's response was simple. You're our son, but that doesn't make you right. I picked up Lily and walked to the nursery as they escorted him out. I didn't look back. 3 days later, the doorbell rang. It was Vivian and Evan, holding a manila folder. No Luke. He signed everything, Evan said. We didn't let him argue. Full custody, divorce, child support. Then Vivian handed me a white envelope. It's from us, so you don't struggle because of what he did. Inside was a check generous enough to give me months of breathing room. He's going to repay every penny, Evan said. We've taken over his finances. No more credit cards. He gets a weekly allowance. That's all. And Lily's trust? Paid on time every month. Or he'll answer to us. I signed that afternoon. Luke didn't contact me. I heard later that Julia ghosted him. HR reassigned him to a dead-end admin job. He moved into a basement apartment. Lily and I stayed with my parents until spring. My mom did night feeds. My dad fixed up my old room. There was always soup, clean towels, and laughter. I found a small, sunlit apartment near a park. Lily's room is filled with secondhand books and stuffed animals she lines up like sentinels. One afternoon, during her nap, I stood in the kitchen. The silence felt good. It wasn't empty. It was mine. People ask if I miss being married. I tell them no. I miss the version of myself I imagined I'd become. I miss the fairy tale I held on to too long. But the marriage? I don't miss apologizing for being exhausted. I don't miss cleaning while holding back tears. I don't miss being made to feel like a failure for not cooking a hot meal on 2 hours of sleep. I don't miss Luke. Do I regret anything? Yes, I regret shrinking myself to avoid conflict. I regret making excuses for a man who didn't deserve them. But I don't regret walking away. I don't regret choosing peace over pretending. I don't regret packing a bag, taking my daughter, and never looking back. And I definitely don't regret saying, this ends here. Because it did. And I'm still here, still standing, and finally free.